Is the King of Swords saying that thinking about what her career could lead to for her in terms of her being the top of the game, is that sort of like inspiring her to think big, or is it saying be inspired by somebody who's already achieved it? I don't know if that's an outside person or if that's actually about you. It could be either way, to be quite honest. So I'm just going to do a yes or no. Is it talking about you? Because I can see both of those options valid. Yes, it's about yourself. Okay, so we are looking at specifically her most beneficial planet and her most challenging planet. So it's firstly Venus and then Saturn. And this reading covers anything that's already happened since last June. What are the messages or advice, the guidance, what needs to be said for each of these in relation to, firstly Venus, secondly Saturn, and then 2 and 3 will be specific to career. There's something about him that feels much more stuck than the 3 of Cups. Jupiter in Aquarius, right, in your 10th.
It's given me like an awareness that I didn't have about the present.
Yes. Let me get the tarot cards out. And have you got a particular sort of question or something you really wanted the reading to be about, or do you want me to kind of like pick up on what I'm getting from here?
I think I'd quite like to kind of pick up on things from here, because it's been so insightful, like learning about my year from here. I quite like to.
Okay. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to kind of like elaborate on what we already kind of know is going on energetically, and I'm going to kind of like get some guidance for you.
Yeah, that's the one I was scared would come up.
The tower.
The tower.
Oh God, let's hope we've not tempted fate now.
Touch wood.
Oh, they all come up every so often, and they don't. It all depends on the context, to be quite honest. And I'm going to ask very sort of. I mean, there's clearly nothing horrible, kind of like coming up. So, but what I do want to know is. And I think this would be a really good reading to do, is I want to know how to get the kind of the biggest benefit out of Venus for the kind of like the next few months, and how to kind of manage the restrictions of Saturn over the next few months, if that makes sense, and see what we get. Going to stick with Venus and Saturn come what may, but are there any areas of your life that you would like part of this reading to sort of be specific about, like your job or relationship or family or anything like that? I mean, we can keep it general, but it will be about Venus and Saturn's work, if you like, or we can just kind of identify a bit of it in some way if you feel that's an advantage to you. I'll let you think about that while I'm shuffling these.
I think if I had to choose one, I'm most interested in career.
Career?
Yeah.
Okay, what I'll do the first part of the reading absolutely general, okay, and then I'll do a couple of areas on career.
Okay.
Right, okay. I'm going to do 2 cards on each. I'm going to get an advisor, and then I'm going to go with the benefit of the Venus and the guidance on the Saturn or whatever. So there's going to be like 3 cards in each position.
Okay.
And then the second and third position will be purely about your career, about nothing else. And then we'll go back to sort of generic again and see how it all ties up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are looking at specifically her most beneficial planet and her most challenging planet. So it's firstly Venus and then Saturn. And this reading covers anything that's already happened since last June, and it will kind of help us sort of to move forward between now and next June. And as we know that everything, inceptions are kind of like really, really important because you don't know what they lead to. Although the reading is covering up to June, this might encourage you to trigger and do something that then carries forward in a really positive way. I don't know what I'm going to get, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It doesn't all necessarily expire like it had no relevance afterwards, but it will all be to do with things that kind of began during this sort of 12-month period. So first of all, I want to get the 5 most beneficial or appropriate, that's the better word, advisors. And then I want advice on Venus and Saturn in each position, with positions 2 and 3 relating directly to career. Okay. Right, so what are the messages or advice, the guidance, what needs to be said for each of these in relation to, firstly Venus, secondly Saturn, and then 2 and 3 will be specific to career. That's it. Keep it simple. Right, so we start off with the first card is the advisor. So the first card, I mean, do you know what an archetype is?
No.
It's kind of like okay, when I was sorting through the cards, you went, oh, I don't want that one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like for example, the Tower card. If you're going to be very kind of generic about it, the Tower card represents anything in your life that you've put a lot of effort into, and then it kind of like all of a sudden it's gone. That can apply in many different kind of ways, but you understand the archetype. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So these advisors are all they're not predictions, but they are all experts in that particular archetype. They have an understanding that is superior to all of us. They have the absolute ultimate understanding of what that archetype means.
Okay.
And they're going to then give their advice on what they believe. Imagine if you, seriously, this is what I like about this spread, if you were at a kind of like a meeting and you had the world's experts on every single kind of, you know, component for a situation coming to give their sort of 2 pence, you know. Do you know, it's fantastic if you think of it like that.
Yeah.
So who's showed up first? And this is generic for you.
Scary.
The world, right?
Okay.
So the archetype of the world is all about, it's a very much a happy endings card, but it is all about kind of sort of like knowing what it is you want to kind of like, that feeling of completion. The world card really, really understands what it feels like to tie everything up in a bow and think, I've done this, I've achieved this, I've got this, whatever it may be. It's the ultimate brilliant ending card that kind of has all that satisfaction in it. Right, okay. So I'm going to go with the fact that the world card has shown up, is that's what we're hopefully aiming for, and that something in this year of your life is a contributing factor towards that. I'm not necessarily saying you've already reached the conclusion, right, you know, but maybe kind of do you know, I mean, you don't have to tell me, do you know what it is that you want, or do you feel that you're on the right track towards understanding ultimately what that would be?
I think I have a dream.
Okay.
I'm not there yet, but
no,
I know,
okay,
yeah.
right. So how can Venus help? If you've got a dream, that makes it kind of like your choices maybe easier to follow. But let's just say, wow, another very positive card. 3 of Cups. So I'm going to absolutely say here, that's all that group stuff actually is very much in this. I would say socialise with like-minded people that you trust as much as you possibly can. I feel you need to focus on knowing who your tribe is and kind of like getting as much. I don't mean this in a ruthless way or using people. You have a lot to be gained just merely by being in the presence of your tribe. Okay, and that's a very Venus thing, and also with all that familiarity kind of like area. I don't necessarily think to get your tribe, certainly this year of your life, I don't think you have to necessarily go very far to get it. Don't underestimate the value of who's in your local community and your existing groups. I think you've got a lot to be gained by being very, very sociable with those around you who share, who you trust, and who are kind of like appropriate for what your goal is. So that's first thing. Now, what is the guidance on mitigating Saturn's restrictions? Interesting. The 9 of Cups, okay?
Okay.
Gosh, I mean, I'm actually seeing this in a very positive way. The difference between the 3 of Cups and the 9 of Cups is there is a lot of movement in the 3 of Cups. I mean, they're kind of linked here. There's a lot of movement in the 3 of Cups where he is kind of sitting there with a big smile on his face. He's happy. I like, this is not a bad... I don't think Saturn is going to kind of like do you a great deal of damage here at all.
Okay.
But I am feeling if you're going to kind of... There's something about him that feels much more stuck than the 3 of Cups. So, and because he is representative of a challenge, whereas they're representing the expansion of something that's already positive, I would say keep things moving rather than get stuck. So having said to you, find your tribe, keep it local and all that sort of thing, and that still applies, I would still say have some versatility and movement in it. Like find different groups.
Okay.
You don't just stick to kind of one person or one group. I would say you might find there's one little group or one, it might even be one person that you absolutely love, right? And will make you really happy. But you stand to gain more by being a little bit more... keep your life varied at this stage. But you don't necessarily have to go and stretch yourself to every corner of the world to do it.
Okay.
Even within the kind of like the life you're living now, I think you'll find, Wednesdays I meet with this group of people and Thursdays, I meet with them. Even though somebody might be absolutely lovely, you'll actually get more from more people. That's how I'm reading that. Okay. All right, so now... career. Who has turned up about your career? The devil. No. It's the devil reversed, okay?
Okay.
Now, the brilliant thing about the devil reversed is I wish I'd done tarot when I was your age. I really, really do, because this is an amazing energy. The fact he's come up in reverse. The devil is all about getting locked into something, and I'm...
Okay.
Right, yeah. Getting locked into something. But the problem with the devil card, which is different from him, this is nice, this is still good, but it's limiting what's out there, right, if that makes sense.
Okay.
The Devil card is actually knowing when something is no longer good for you, right? Okay. And not getting yourself so stuck in something. I'm so glad it's come up reversed, because basically this is understanding the importance of breaking those chains.
Okay.
Because I've done it myself. I've stuck with jobs. I know this is specifically about career, but I've stuck with several jobs in my life, and I've talked myself into, it's good to stay because it's I'll give myself all the reasons why it's good to stay, and I end up leaving because one of them was the place went into liquidation. So I literally turned up one morning and it was gone, right?
Okay.
And it was so there was no sort of choice about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And another, it was like, oh my God, I'm just going to be here forever. And it was a great job, but it was so repetitive.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, know when it's the right time. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to change the career path, or that you have to go and work for a different employer, but it might be, I would like to work for a different department, but I don't want to rock the boat. No, I think I should sort of stay put. It's come up for a reason.
Okay.
Know when it's time to kind of release yourself from that exact situation where it's in your best interest to make some sort of change or move, right?
Okay.
Just have that as an awareness, right?
Okay.
So what am I getting as Venus here? Interesting. This one has also come up in reverse. Now, this is actually quite a, I don't want to say nasty, a pitiful. It's a pitiful energy with the Five of Pentacles, and it's come up reverse. It's feeling that you are not wanted. It's feeling that you don't belong in this situation, and that you are kind of like feeling left out and rejected, right? Remember, this is the Venus, right? Okay. This is the Venus. So I'm tying this directly in now with the Devil. If you are feeling that you are in a situation, and remember, this is related to your career, we've established that, in a situation that is relating to your career where you just feel that they're not getting you, or they're not including you, or this group of people is not quite right, you need to kind of like change that. You need to break that chain so that you're not feeling that feeling of being left out or rejected. You need to do something about it so that you can then go in and be part of the whatever's going on in that room. I'm not necessarily talking about a physical room.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like a metaphorical room. You definitely need to feel that you belong, or it's your responsibility to do something about it and change it. Now, whether it's going out and socialising with them to get yourself, it's very, very important that you don't just put up with that, because that's not serving your Venus. Okay. Your Venus wants you to be belonging, and this is very much about, don't allow a situation to go on for too long where you feel like an outsider. Okay. It could be paranoia on your part, I don't know. Okay. I don't even know whether any of this is resonating with you at all or relates to you at all career-wise.
It does a bit, yeah.
Don't let that escalate. Okay. I would say if there is somebody at work that you just feel that, I don't know if that person likes me or whatever, make a bit of an effort to be sociable. Take the advice from there. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, so you've like broken that down. Okay. Don't let it grow into something bigger than it actually needs to be, right? Now, what about Saturn? Okay, these have all come up in reverse. Now, Saturn, interesting, this is tying in with this. I'm going to be really, really obvious here. Would you say that where you're working right now, either are they paying you enough is one very obvious way of interpreting that card, or are they actually realising your worth and value? Do they realise how good you are, or what your potential is? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself.
Wow, yeah, there's certainly a lack of growth. Like, I can't go anywhere higher than I already am.
Ah.
So there's like a brick wall there in terms of progression.
Right, okay.
So money is kind of going to be what it is now, will be, if I stay there, that's what it is forever.
Right, okay. Well, I kind of like feel all of these, if you look how happy all of those are, I mean, you can sort of see it in the colours, in the imagery, even the Saturn, right? These are all, they're dark cards. Well, actually, that's not a dark card, but it's come up in a reverse way. But I am relieved that these first two actually came up reversed, because that's saying to me, you just have to sort of change it. Now, to what degree you have to change it is honestly over to you. Maybe, well, you've actually said that there is a kind of a limit of where this is. So I think you need to kind of think about what you're going to kind of like do about that, because you don't want to get stuck somewhere for years and years and years. And even though you may become very good at it and it's got security, that's not very... That's what I did, right? You know, like I did that a couple of times. And if I had my life again, I would still do those jobs again, but I wouldn't stay as long as I did. I kind of stuck it out way too long, right? You know, so I'm just saying, I don't say you have to learn from me, but I do think the cards have come up like that for a reason. So this is also a career guidance.
Okay.
Wheel of Fortune reversed. Right, excuse me. Got to find Jupiter now. Right, now you have Jupiter in Aquarius, right, in your 10th. So Jupiter right now is in Pisces. Right, the Wheel of Fortune is all about the cycles of life. And I would actually say the fact it's come up reverse is indicating that I think of it a bit like a game. You know, like sometimes you're on a winning streak and sometimes you're on a bit of a losing streak. I think your winning streak is yet to come, to be honest with you. There's another very kind of valid thing here as well. In the four corners of the Wheel of Fortune, there's kind of like animals reading books and things. They're all kind of like learning, if that makes any sense. So that life learning. Whereas the World card is like I say, the happy ending. Those same four animals are there, but they don't have the books there anymore. Okay. So I feel that what you're doing now is a kind of like a learning part of life with this. Because remember, this is career as well. With this job that you are doing, it's not necessarily going through the best sort of cycle at the moment. This card is very led by Jupiter, the energy of this. That's why I wanted to see where Jupiter was in your chart. And interestingly, Jupiter is in your chart, is in Aquarius. Guess who rules Aquarius?
Who?
Saturn.
Not again.
Yes. So Saturn is actually, and Saturn, if you look here, Saturn is at 18 Aries and your Jupiter in your chart is at 21 Aquarius. So 3 degrees apart is close enough for them to be kind of affecting each other. I think Jupiter is trying to make progress. Jupiter's a positive energy. It might not be your most positive, but it's still positive. And it's making a positive energy in your 10th house, which is the house of career. But Saturn is getting in the way of it. I actually think you're in a very restricted situation. Okay. Sorry. You've even identified it yourself. I don't know if you've considered when you're going to move or what your next move is going to be, but I think that's something that you are maybe being urged here to just keep your eyes open to see what other opportunities are out there. Don't feel that you have to be loyal to this job and this company and this situation forever. We know we've got Taurus going on with you. Yeah. It's a very, very loyal energy. But I kind of feel if you really want to kind of create the world, you've got to know when is the right time to make that kind of move, right? Okay, right. Sorry, like that, but you get what you get.
Yeah.
Right. What is the Venus kind of contribution here? Leave.
Oh.
Right. That was just like the easiest thing in the world. I'm not saying walk out tomorrow, but leave when you do leave, right?
Yeah.
Leave in a very orderly and correct way. It's like you've tied it all up properly. You've given them the notice. You've found another. He's going somewhere. He knows where he's going.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? You've found something that's an improvement. And as much as you like certain things about this job and this situation, it's for your own greater good.
Yeah.
It's time to kind of break the chain on this. That's the Venus advice.
Yeah, it was so clear.
Whoa. Wow.
Wow.
And I'm actually seeing as well a connection here between this Venus, this person in this red cloak. It's very this is very interesting because this is all water, emotional, and this red to me, I was just spotting like the fire thing here. Your moon is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Your moon is in the fire sign. The moon is there in the 8, and I feel, look at her in the red cloak celebrating. I think if you want to achieve I've got my life exactly where it wants to be, you need to recognise when is the time to make to look at making a move. Now, but don't forget what I told you though. Make sure you don't just kind of leave in a hurry or just leave in a mess.
Yeah.
It's kind of done properly. He's absolutely going somewhere, absolutely definite, and he's done it all very neatly and tidily and correctly. Okay, that's the Venus. What about the Saturn? Well, here I think we get the benefits of Saturn, right? I think, you know, you've got like the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the law of repulsion?
No.
The law of repulsion and the law of what I hate about the law of attraction is it's very woo-woo. It's kind of like, oh, think about happy things and they'll come to you, right?
Yeah.
Whatever there is positive, there has to also be a negative. The law of repulsion is knowing when it's time to get away from something, right, and why. It's just as powerful as the law of attraction, right? This is saying you need to make sure you've got something to go to that is an improvement on what you've got. I don't know that you'll find it this year. I just think you should start looking. I'm just trying to open your eyes to it, right? It might be you're there for another 2 years. I'm making that up. I'm not saying that. I'm seeing that in the cards. But I'd like to think that this tarot reading has made you think, I need to keep an awareness of what's out there that is right for me, that would be best. There's no point in leaving for the sake of leaving, but that offers me more. And you yourself said what they're not. There's this brick wall. Now, 7 of Pentacles is, even in the upright position, he's looking at all the work he's doing and thinking, my God, is this really worth it? It's like, I'm doing all of this and all I get is this. Right, which is, it very, very sort of ties in with these 2 coins cards up here. The card came up reverse, and it is basically saying that to change your Wheel of Fortune so that you start to be on a winning streak, you need to kind of definitely make sure that you go to a situation that you don't repeat the same thing, where you feel that you're being valued more from your experience, that you deserve more. It's sometimes in your life, it's especially I'm being patronising now, but I'm going to just be it. As a younger person, because I have been a younger person, it's frightening to believe in your own self-worth. And a job, or what a person is willing to pay you, can actually reflect your value. Outside influences can actually be make an impact on I know that I am worth that. And sometimes it takes an outside source to make you realise your own self-worth. And I feel your current situation, especially because you've said it's never going to improve, is going to never make your own feeling of self-worth apparent to you.
Okay.
And you're worth actually a lot.
Okay.
And even up there with this stuck thing, you are worth a lot. But I want to know what's behind that curtain, because that Saturn up there is keeping it hidden, and the wider world will make that apparent to you.
Wow.
Don't see a job that you feel like doing and think, oh no, I would never be worth that. Go for it. Go for it, honestly. Right, now we're back to a bit more generic, but it may all just tie in. Who's shown up next? The Lovers reversed. Now, the Lovers obviously can be relating to love and relationships, absolutely. But also the Lovers can be anybody, or the archetype relates to anybody or anything that you are emotionally attached to. And the fact that you have got Venus as your kind of key player here. Venus is the planet of love, and that is also self-love and self-worth and all that sort of thing. And I feel that the fact that we've had a few kind of reversed cards come up here, I mean, I'm very glad that one's reversed. That one needs to be turned around. But I feel you need to raise your game, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying your life is bad or anything like that, or that other people are not giving you the appreciation that you deserve. But I think you need to put yourself into situations where you surprise yourself and you start to realise your own... I think do things, make it part... Because this year is about you, rather than, you know, I said it's about the first house, which is you, the person, the little package that's sitting right in front of me now. I feel do things that make you fall in love with yourself even more. No, but you're thinking, do you know what? I'm actually really good at this. That's made me feel really good about myself. It's that sort of thing.
Okay.
I mean, do you have interests, hobbies, anything like that you kind of commit to and you devote to?
Yeah, I think I have a few things that I can think this applies to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see what the messages are then, right? Okay. I mean, it can be people, but it can also be things, and it can also be projects. But it's like, it's not about arrogance. It's just about kind of, I really like being me. And when I do this thing, it reminds me how much I enjoy being me and with myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I can think quite concretely about it.
Okay, good. Right. Okay, now, what's the Venus message here then? Okay. All right, so this is a marvellous card. This is
finally.
it's come up reversed, and I think I know why. So this is your if you look at it there, right? He's kind of he's got choices. He's got a lot of choices, and in each one of those cups, we're back to the cups again. They've come up quite a lot in your reading. If you look deeper into each one of those cups, some of them are really nice things that come out of those cups, and some of them are a bit kind of like, ooh, oh God, I thought I was going to like this, but in actual fact, it's horrible, right?
Yeah.
So the fact it's come up reversed says two things to me. Number one is, I think you've already, I mean, you've just said this to me, so it's not me kind of, you know, but I don't think you need to go out and find more things in order to sort of enjoy what you're doing. I think whatever it is that you're good at, that you will get real pleasure out of, that will put you in touch with your tribe. And even this doesn't have to be work related at all, but it will put you in touch with good people. I think you've already made that connection. I think you've already made that selection about some of the things that you've already tried. And I would honestly discard the things that are not kind of bigging you up within yourself. Look at the ones that you're good at, or that you really get pleasure from, and that you really enjoy. You know, and focus, because if you've got too many, I know I said variety, but I think if it's too widespread, you're not going to get the full benefit of it. Stick to the things. This is saying to me, make sure she understands Venus. The planet Venus is very sensual. By that, I'm not necessarily talking about sensual in the kind of sexy sense of the word. I mean, I might be, but that's not what's in my head. Think about your senses. We're allowed to please those senses. So make sure that the things from that you do as your kind of like purely for pleasure are pleasurable to you. Pleasurable, and that they kind of make you feel you deserve it. Like, you know?
Okay.
Be very, treat yourself. And it doesn't necessarily have to cost money. You know, just, I want to be just left alone in a darkened room and listen to beautiful music for an hour. I'm switching everything off. I'm doing this for me. Indulge. Do you know what I'm saying? In that sort of thing. That's the Venus. So really, really indulge in the Venus energy, especially now while it's going on for this year of your life. What about the Saturn? Two of Swords reversed. I want you to revisit some of these choices, because I feel that you've had some options that you've already had. The fact these are in reverse, I'm feeling this is not anything new. I think look at things that you've maybe explored before, and I don't think you looked at something properly. I think there's something out there that you maybe had a go at already that needs to be revisited. That's what I'm getting on that.
Okay.
You maybe know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. The last but not least, the Star reversed. Oh, this is such a gorgeous card. So we didn't get the Tower.
Yay!
All right, it didn't come up at all. The Star is just one of the most divine cards in all of the tarot.
Oh, yay!
The Star is all about, I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed she wasn't upright, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. But she's all about being very kind of happy in her own skin, if that makes sense. And she's also very much about, when she looks at her reflection, she really enjoys what she gets back. And bearing in mind that is all, this year is all about you, the individual, I think that's a good time to soul search and things, and think this might not be a bad exercise for you to do. Like, if you met the little you and said to the little you know, by the time you're 24, you're going to have done this, and I'm going to do this, this for you.
Yeah.
I feel that you would greatly benefit from something like that exercise. And it's just between you and yourself, right?
Okay.
Nobody else has to know you're doing it or what the result of it is. But I feel that you would get a lot out of it.
Okay.
Now, there's something interesting as well that has happened in your majors, right? The World card, right? That one's upright, fine. The Devil card, reversed. Nothing on this one. The Lovers card, reversed. And the Star card, reversed. 4 out of the 5 majors have all come up with naked bodies in them. This would give the impression that this deck is full of naked bodies, but it isn't. And I'm kind of questioning how confident are you? I'm not talking about you're naked. It's not about being naked.
Okay.
But it's about the Jamie Oliver version of naked. You know, the Naked Chef. It's about exposing who you really are.
Okay.
Is that resonating with you at all?
Yeah.
And I'm honestly wondering whether maybe you yourself still need to discover who you really are, right? And I think you will be in for a marvellous surprise when you kind of face the kind of magnitude of who you really are and what you're really, really capable of. That's what I'm honestly getting from this, because it all kicked off with the most fantastic happy ending, and it's kind of like, where is this all heading?
Yeah.
That all of these little naked bodies, that and it's nothing to do with being naked whatsoever, unless secretly you want to be a porn star or something. But do you know what I mean? Which is totally up to you. But it's to do with being it's almost like a sort of a realisation of what you are about and what you're capable of. I think you're destined for a whole lot more than where you are at. I think you're not in a bad place, but it's a big world out there with opportunities, and I think your worth, the values thing keeps coming up. I think you're very worth investing in yourself in a kind of a more expansive way.
Okay.
You just need to realise it yourself. That's what I'm getting. Okay, so what am I getting from the Venus here? King of Swords. Upright. Massive. So is this talking about you? Or I might need to draw another card on that.
Okay.
The King of Swords is... The kings are kind of right up there. They're kind of... it doesn't get kind of higher in terms of power and authority and knowledge and being experts and all that sort of thing as the kings. And the King of Swords is that there's 4 kings in the tarot. And the King of Swords is all about mental energy. So it's to do with kind of logic and knowledge and communication and all of that. Let me just see what I get from the Saturn. And I may need to kind of ask one more question. Is that a prediction of what you could aspire to if you kind of got your act together? Or is it saying you need to kind of engage with somebody else who can kind of give you that kind of level of expertise? Do you see? I'm not sure if it's about you or somebody else. I just wanted to check on the other, and I'm just going to do one more card because I don't want to kind of have any doubt about any of the cards that I'm reading. So the Saturn on the last card, the 5 of Cups in reverse. So again, we've gone back to the cups again, and I'm really, really liking the fact that this one has come up in reverse. Interestingly, we got the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. It's like you've got to kind of belong, you've got to fit in, you've got to realise your value. Here, you've got to kind of like let go of what you might lose. But if you leave your job, you might feel, oh, I don't want to leave because of this, that. You've got to not look at what you're going to lose and look at what you stand to gain and what that's going to lead to. Right? And that applies whether it's certain friendships or whether it's the job, whatever it is. You can spend too long looking at what isn't working and not paying attention to what's actually there and already there and available. I think there's another job out there for you already. If you choose to turn around, take the blindfold off and look at it, that's going to honestly really, really raise your game. That's what I'm getting from that. Still don't know quite. I don't like the fact that one card kind of like has stumped me here. Is the King of Swords saying that I should be thinking about what her career could lead to for her in terms of her being the top of the game? Is that sort of like inspiring her to think big, or is it saying be inspired by somebody who's already achieved it? I don't know if that's an outside person or if that's actually about you. It could be either way, to be quite honest. So I'm just going to do a yes or no. Is it talking about you? Because I can see both of those options valid. Is it talking about you? Yes, it's about yourself. The 2 of Cups.
Okay.
You need to think big. I mean, it doesn't mean that your next job you're going to suddenly become the kind of managing director of... You need to find a job where the road that it leads to can take you right to the top rather than where you're at now. I'm not in any way trying to put you off this current job, but that is not forever. You're capable of something very, very big. I mean,
okay.
It's like the perfect partnership, and it also it links very well with this as well. It's almost like the sort of the more practical day-to-day version of that one, Upright.
Okay.
That's it. That's your reading.
Wow, it's so amazing how much has come up.
That's the tarot for you.
Yeah, and it connects so well.
I know. I've got to say, though, I swear to God, I do loads of readings and I forget them all. I don't think I've ever seen all the naked cards. Wait a minute, I just want to have a look. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think there is another naked tarot card. No, I don't think there is, unless I've missed one. Oh, there's a naked baby. Okay, the baby didn't come up. Right. Oh, there's a few naked people there actually as well. Right, okay, fair enough, yeah. Well, there's a naked baby and there's the judgment card, but I still think that's quite a...
Yeah.
I mean, in one way or another, they're a bit peculiar naked because one's a little baby and these are actually grey sort of dead bodies.
Whereas these are... as well.
What was that?
All in the same places as well.
Oh, no, they would be because the advisors are all majors, so I did those first, so they're from the major arcana. But the only naked... I've gone through all of the tarot cards, and the only other two naked ones are the baby and the judgment, but they're not quite alive and breathing adults in the same as these. But yeah, I just think it's extraordinary.
It's fascinating. Wow.
So I hope that was helpful to you.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's given me like an awareness that I didn't have about the present.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're restricting yourself to what you're actually worth and capable of. And you were the one that said it, that the job has no kind of further to go. So get your eyes open, see what's out there, because that you know, if you bother to look at what's actually already very close to you, you can kind of go over that bridge and move on to kind of amazing things.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite positive. It's nice.
I would definitely say it's positive. But I would say if anything about your situation is opposite to positive, it's you holding yourself back by just kind of not feeling ready to kind of look at, you know, what is out there. And I feel the more you value yourself, the more you'll realise, oh, hang on, I've grown out of this situation. I need to make the next step and allow yourself to think big. To think big longer term, obviously, yeah.
Oh, thank you. It was amazing. I loved it.
Oh, good. So if you had to choose one card to kind of motivate you, which one just, you know...
I really like the first one that came up though.
Of course,
the happy ending and how everything is like leading towards.
Yeah. Well, that's the law of attraction. That's kind of, if I just wish and I wish for it, you know, I'm going to get it. And it's like, well, actually, no, because you've got Saturn there kind of holding things back, right? You know, so you can wish as much as you like. You might get there sort of naturally, but you could actually do something to encourage that, because it's not saying you won't get that, but it is saying that you definitely could make that harder work than it needs to be to achieve that just from yourself. And this year is all about yourself. Well, if you want to take a photo of that card to kind of inspire you, but what I want you to do, I don't want you to just take a photo of that card, I want you to take a photo of those two, because I feel that if you really want that enough, you'll pay attention to breaking the chain when something is clearly kind of no longer sort of serving your greater good. Do you see what I mean? So I always say take a photo of both of those.
Be aware of both sides.
Yeah.